Well, the more I talk to parents and the more I talk to youngsters, I kind of get a feel that there's a lot that is happening between them. There's certainly an increased sense of tension and friction at home. At some home, there is a full-fledged war, and at some, there is, of course, a cold war. In short, there is a kind of a love-hate saga between the parents and the children. Now take a look at the short videos done by The Lighthouse. Kind of gives you a glimpse of what's really happening in our homes. It might sound funny as well.
Oh, online classes are so difficult. You say online class is difficult? When I was in college,
I had to travel 30 kilometers, 10 kilometers by walk, 15 kilometers by boat, and 5 kilometers by bus.
and you're telling me online class is difficult?
Ma, I want to go on a trip with my friends, ma. Trippa? For what? Ma, second sem was so stressful, ma. I just want to go and relax. No chance. Stress it, Jim. Stress. Please, ma. I'll get you married and then you can go wherever you want.
How is this connected to marriage?
Everything is connected to marriage. As long as you're under my roof, you have to do what I say. Get married, ask your husband, and then do what you want.
Why do I need permission from anybody, ma? This is just too much, just so annoying.
Well, the question is, can this be bettered? Can both parents and youngsters live under the same roof as a family? Can they enjoy deep, loving, satisfying, and trusting relationship with each other? I think the answer is yes, but I also think that this would require understanding and patience and a little bit of work on both the sides. So first, let me talk to the parents. I think as parents, we must admit that our kids no longer remain kids. They do not remain kids all their life. In fact, they grow up and they will soon outgrow us as well. They say once your kids reach your height, make them your friends. So do not treat your children as kids once they have reached a certain age. They are no longer small kids. Second, I think our children will soon seek for independence. They will push our rules. They will test our boundaries for sure. Now, this is normal and they must, because this is the stage they're actually moving from being dependent on us as primary caregivers to becoming independent. They are learning to run life on their own eventually and gradually. Now, this is a stage where I think as parents we should teach our children problem-solving skills and also teach them leadership skills. After all, they have to become the men and the women they're supposed to become and run their own lives, aren't they? And it is our job as parents to coach them, to come alongside them, to help them do their lives on their own. Third, I would think we as parents should give them the freedom to choose. Yes, we must give them the freedom to choose, but also explain to them that each of their choices have consequences. If they make a wrong choice, they will soon learn it. Believe me, if they learn it on their own by making mistakes, they will also remember it the longest. But of course, not to give them their freedom is to incite war of revolution and rebellion at home. Fourth, indeed, try and trust them. Trust them, trust your children. Now, this is big. I know this is difficult because we as parents don't want to see our kids hurt themselves. But listen, getting hurt is part of their growing up journey. I remember trying to teach Gracie, our daughter, how to cycle. And the most difficult part for me as a father was to take my hands off her cycle to let her go on her own. Then I realized my being overprotective was rather hurting her than helping her. Therefore, I think we should transfer responsibility to our children little by little, and believe me, they will truly make us proud. Fifth, let us not expect them to live our unlived lives. Let's not expect our kids to live our unlived lives. Now, I understand that they're your children, but they are not you. They are very unique in their making and their gifting too. And our role as parents is not to make them like us, but to enable them to become whom they are wired to become. So instead of becoming a hindrance to the process, become the fuel that will fire the passion in our children. Sixth, let us not compare our upbringing with theirs. Let's not compare our upbringing with theirs. Now, this means that just because we didn't have phones or computers when we grew up, does not mean that they shouldn't have it either. Each generation is so unique, so different, and their privileges are different too. So I would say, well, come alongside them and learn from them. In fact, they will stump us with what they know with technology. Meanwhile, I think our role is to teach them to use the technology responsibly and wisely as well. Seventh, do not compare our child with another child. Let's not compare our child with another neighborhood child. Now, I understand that we might do it to motivate our children, but you know what? This is the worst thing we can do as parents to our children. It basically demotivates them completely. Listen, comparison is the root of all inferiority, said James Dobson. Comparison is the root of all inferiority. It destroys them. So let's not compare our children with another child, accept our children for who they are with their unique giftings and capabilities. Eighth, I think, is big, and that is to communicate. Just to communicate with our children. Now, one of the major reasons for strained relationship between parents or children is the lack of communication. Now, in the spirit of life, when your kids are turning around to be teenagers, you see, they struggle a lot. In fact, they struggle big time with self-doubt and feelings of inferiority. Powerful hormonal forces cause much delusion for the youngster. Well, how else would you explain why a happy and contented cooperative youngster suddenly becomes sullen, angry, and depressed? Have you noticed their conversation? I mean, they don't say anything more than, yeah, I don't know, that's it. Now, I think it is here that communication makes a lot of difference. Now, what does communication mean? You know, it's not basically about checking on where they're going, when they're going to come back, who are their friends. No. Communication here means a heart-to-heart conversation. This means that you understand and communicate at the feeling and the emotional level. This means that you affirm them and you validate their feelings. Now, let me say, this type of conversation and communication would certainly take time, and it will take money too. You know, I just realized that, with my son Kevin, when I take him to the McDonald's and buy him some burgers, he talks to me. He really opens up and he tells his heart to me. So I would highly encourage that you find a hobby that you would both love doing together, things that you can enjoy together. And believe me, when you will bond in together, the bonding will also usher in conversation that will happen even as you spend time together. Listen, let me say this again. This is going to take time, but this kind of an investment is worth a lifetime. You will reap the dividends of a satisfying and fulfilling relationship with your children. And ninth, do not take their phones away from them. Do not take their phones away from them. You know why? Because it is in this stage, approval from their peers mean a world to them. They need to be connected. What you could do is to arrive at a mutual screen time that they are allowed, but do not take their phones away from them. You know, it basically will spoil your relationship with them. 10th, I would think, I as a parent have realized that I should stop exasperating my child, not to put them off. Very, very important. Not to scold them in public. Instead, to praise them in public and correct them in private. I have to constantly remind myself that look, we are family, we are on the same team, and believe me, I give respect, I get respect. After all, respect is earned and not demanded. And last, as parents, I would think we must pray for our children. Now, I can't overemphasize the importance of prayer. We must just pray for our children on our knees every day of our life. Now, to you young men and women, may I say, you will certainly grow up, but your parents won't. You will grow up, but your parents won't. You will remain a kid to them born yesterday. Have you ever returned home from 3 years of college out of town? You will find them giving you the same advice on what to eat, what to wear, which friends to cultivate, and the list will go on and on and on. Now, that is because your world has changed, but theirs hasn't. Your world has changed, theirs hasn't. But do understand, they do it out of love and they do it out of concern. But I think you can solve this problem by sitting them down and assuring them, talk to them, calm them down, calm their fears. I think most of our issues can be solved if both parties communicate with each other and listen to each other and address each other's feelings. Second, I would think you must move out when it is appropriate for you to move out of the house. You must move out when it is appropriate for you to move out of the house. Get responsible and stand on your own. Now, I know of many youngsters who are hanging around the house because they don't know what to do next. But you see, if you're grown up and you continue to stay home, your parents can't help parenting you. They will come after you. They will dictate your life. They will irritate you. They will tell you, well, what's allowed and what's not allowed. Now, that will certainly deteriorate your relationship. Now, I'm of course aware that in our culture, leaving our home is not really highly appreciated. But you see, you will have to very wisely navigate through this. I know you may not agree with your parents, but do consider their point of view. They have years of experience that you do not have as a youngster. It can really help you a lot. Another one that you could remember is, look, if you disagree with them, do not be rude with them. Do not ever scream at them. In fact, Bible instructs us to honor our father and our mother. Give credit to your parents. You know why? It is because only when you become a parent, you will truly understand your parent. It is only when you become a parent, you will truly understand what it is to be a parent. So please do give them the credit. And of course, don't forget to pray for them. Do not forget to pray for your parents, and of course to tell them that you love them and you appreciate them very much. You see, for us, our parents will not be there longer. All of our lives are stipulated. To be loving and appreciative of each other is very, very important. Remember, we are part of the same team. We are part of the same family. Let's enjoy our relationships together, and it is possible to enjoy with a little bit of an understanding on both the sides.